Clubhouse.
Welcome to Pod Clubhouse's press pass coverage for 2024 cons and festivals. This is Caroline.
And this is Paul.
And today we're talking about Comicpalooza, which is Houston's best show, I think. What do you think about Comicpalooza, Paul? What is it? Tell our listeners.
Comicpalooza is Houston's celebration of pop culture. With comic in the name, you might get thrown off that it's centered on things related to comic books, comic book movies, that sort of thing. But I think it's broader than that these days, given the people that they've invited as the celebrity guests and the breadth of invitees for other categories, like not just comics, but cosplay and authors. You'll find something for anyone that has any interest in pop culture.
So when is it this year, Paul, if people would like to go?
This year, Comicpalooza is being held on May 24th through the 26th. So that weekend of Memorial Day, but not on Memorial Day.
Okay. And that's kind of its typical time these days, right? I know that they used to be in July, but then they moved to May. Do you like this May time better than July, or what do you think?
Yeah. Well, if you recall, there were a few years there where they were going to battle with Mother's Day, which was a very iffy timing, in my opinion.
Pros and cons there, people. Pros and cons.
Yeah. The mom sets the tone on that one.
I think so. Yeah. Her expectations matter in that one. Well, are you excited to head there this year?
I am, more so than I have been in some recent years.
Why is that?
Well, I would say that before the pandemic, Comicpalooza was building up some steam as a major show here in Texas. What I mean by that is being able to draw in large crowds and higher profile celebrities in greater numbers, right?
Okay, yeah.
I don't want to say anything to make any celebrity sound better than another. I'm just saying the kind of exclusive gets that you get at your bigger shows.
So tell me some of the celebrities that you're expecting to be there this year.
Well, I think the headliner has got to be John Cena.
Peacemaker himself?
Yeah, I can't imagine a bigger name than John Cena at any show, actually.
Wow. That's saying a lot.
I mean, there's always some interest in professional wrestling at shows like this.
Okay, yeah, sure. The collectors for sure.
I mean, if you're just sitting there at your Sunday dinner with your grandma and you think about comic collectors, you may not think that there's a crossover in the Venn diagram there of wrestling fans and comic book people. But believe it or not, it's a pretty generous overlap.
I believe it.
So there's always somebody, like Sergeant Slaughter's been there, or Bret the Hitman Hart I've seen there. But John Cena, I mean, he just wrestled at WrestleMania, so he's acting and wrestling still.
Look at John.
And he just celebrated his 47th birthday. So,
holy smokes. Look at that.
I know what you mean.
I don't feel like I could do that. I'm not interested in getting thrown around at this age. So I feel for John. But so what else besides if people are not, maybe they're not there for the celebrities, what else can they expect to see?
Okay, well, they have a variety of things to offer. They have shopping. So they have a large vendors area where there will be some people there from the local comic shops with their older comics or their exclusive comics that they are going to try to sell. But there are also people there with their artisanal crafts, straight up fine art. Even I've seen there's a large booth there with Houston's largest theater tech, I'd say, like stage makeup and costumes and that sort of stuff. So if you were looking for gallons of fake blood or that sort of thing, you'll be able to find it there.
Or if you wanted to ask questions about how to make gallons of fake blood, I bet people could answer some questions for you.
Or just to engage with that community. They often are running demos on how to apply that kind of high level stage makeup like that. So they'll be painting some lady to look like a tiger or something like that. But they'll do that throughout the day.
Very cool.
Beyond that, they offer panels on various tracks, which we can discuss in a second. They have entertainment like the cosplay fashion show contest. Or there's these guys that run a Renaissance fair style fighting event where they battle each other in armor.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a number of podcasts there that run their podcast from stages that they've set up on the vendor floor. And they'll discuss various pop culture topics of the day, like who would win in a fight between the Incredible Hulk and Superman, stuff like that.
That's an important discussion to have. And if you want to be a part of that, come on.
Exactly. And where else would you want to have that? But
Right, but at Comicpalooza.
Exactly.
Exactly. All right. So talk to me a little bit about what first timers can expect, because you and I have gone many times and our kids have gone many times. What are like some little tips and tricks, especially if this is your first time going?
Okay, well, this event is being held at the George R. Brown Convention Center downtown Houston, which is just adjacent to Minute Maid Ballpark. So there's no like dedicated parking to this. The parking is all in surface lots surrounding the area. The closer that you get to George R. Brown, the more you're going to pay. And that's just the way it goes.
But there are hotels that are connected to the convention center, and I highly recommend checking those out because that was so convenient to have a room that, like, midday, if you wanted to go back, if you were doing cosplay, you wanted to change outfits, or you wanted to, maybe your kids need to take a little breather, take a little nap or something, come back, whatever. It all feels like you can stay within the air conditioned buildings in comfort in Houston.
Yeah, and they're connected by sky bridges, so very convenient to get through. They do have security, which you do want because there will be cosplayers bringing in swords, guns, weapons of all sorts, and you need these people there to make sure that those are not real. Those are all
Right.
fake items. And that is something to factor in when you are getting there, that you will wait in this line to check your bags for things you shouldn't have.
And definitely go ahead and wear your most comfortable shoes, most comfortable clothes. It is going to be nice and air conditioned inside, so you shouldn't have to worry about being too hot, but you are going to walk a ton. So make sure if you're somebody who needs comfortable shoes, who needs comfortable clothes, definitely make that a priority.
Also, once you get there, there will be a line to get your badge. If you have a VIP badge, that is a shorter line. If you have a general badge, that will be the longer line. You'll be able to tell which is which. Yeah, but once you have your badge, you are good to go to anywhere you want to go. If you are interested in celebrity signings or photo ops, then you need to pay attention to that information on the Comicpalooza website. You'll be able to find out how much that costs and when they will be available. Not every celebrity is available every day. So if you're interested in someone in particular, you need to make sure that you go on their day.
Yeah, plan your time because that's a big part. There's a lot of different choices and a lot of different things to see, but oftentimes if you look at the entire schedule, you can see that you might have similar things on different days to where if you miss something, you can probably try to scoot into on a different day. So kind of pay attention to what the calendar is, what the schedule says, and try to make your like this is like my priority list. These are the things I want to see, and then the things that like if I can't make it, it's okay, but I hope to see this as well. Most of the time I felt like we could get around all over the place. I mean, I felt like between the different panels and the celebrities, if we just wanted to walk the floor for a while and check out different artists and see what different vendors were selling, we filled our day completely, like wall to wall.
Very true, very possible. There is a Comicpalooza app that will let you build your own schedules and build in reminders so that you can filter down to just the events that you want or plan on seeing, and then building in sort of like that travel/line time. So if you are going to go see John Cena's panel on Sunday at 11:30, then Caroline, do you suppose that you should show up at 11:15 expecting to walk right in?
Oh no, I think that would be a bad idea.
That would be a terrible idea. Yeah.
Yeah. How much time do you think people should give though for stuff like that? Like how much buffer do they need to put into their schedule for just regular line waiting? Because that's a part of cons. And I know people kind of like are bummed about that. But here's the thing, when you're in line, that's a great time to connect with other fans, find out about other maybe there's offsite get-togethers or parties. There might be taking like a group picture for different cosplayers. So when you're in line, don't feel like that's like a waste of time. It's a time when you can connect with other fans and get more info.
That's true.
We've met lots of people like that, actually.
That we still know.
Yeah, and we still talk to and see at cons. It's funny.
You would probably give at least an hour.
Okay.
There are many volunteers And the volunteers, in some cases, limit when the line can actually form. They can't stop you from just hanging around, but they may not honor any informal line that is being made before they say, this is the line, which is sort of weird, but they're trying to maintain some level of order.
Yeah, and that's very important because I mean, we want things to go smoothly and quickly. You know, the worst part is when we have a little bit of chaos in a line that creates backup where people are waiting around too long. So I'm thankful for all of the volunteers. We thank you guys for spending your time and energy to come out to cons and make things run more smoothly. It's such an important part of all of these cons to actually have people who are willing to, have to be like the rule followers,
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard to be the guy to say like you got to get back in line or you have to wait. So we appreciate them, but definitely leave yourself some room and leave yourself some room for good food and for taking some breaks, because that's going to be a good part of making your day feel like you're not exhausted at the end, or you're not, too tired or your feet hurt or anything. Make sure you schedule yourself in some breaks. There's great food there. I remember getting great barbecue one year, and I know they have all different snack bars and concessions and all kinds of things going on. And right across the street is Discovery Green. So if you'd like to get a little sunshine on your skin and you want to head outside, you can do that. And there's usually some food trucks around and some restaurants, and you can get yourself something different.
That said, if you are a food allergy person, you should bring your own food.
Yes, this is a difficult place to try to find things that work for you. So you are allowed to bring snacks in. So I definitely highly recommend that.
Me too.
As you can tell, we have some allergies in our family, so it's important. But how important is it to keep making sure that you're drinking and eating and keeping on top of that?
Oh, your energy will flag midday, and you'll find that you still want to spend another 6 hours there. But if you haven't fed or hydrated, then you may run out of energy and patience
Oh, yes,
before you
yes.
get to where you want to be. So
Full bellies always have better patience than empty bellies. So, yeah,
it's a
highly
fact.
recommend. So, other tips and tricks that you have for this con? One thing that I have always enjoyed about this con, if you are somebody who you're like, I really am not about just the comics, and that might sound so funny with it being called the Comicpalooza, but honestly, like they have a table for the library who has all their activities out for the summer and all the different schedules and things that they're doing. I remember them having like a whole robotics area where if that's something that you're interested in,
Yeah.
they have tons of cool
NASA.
robots.
Yeah.
Yeah, really neat stuff. NASA was there. Hello, that's pretty rad. And then I remember them having Lego areas too, where like if you have kids that like to build, or if you like to build yourself, you can stop in and have other builders next to you doing their own thing. So there's lots of different activities that go far beyond only comics. Of course, now let's give it its due. If you are somebody who loves comics, you are going to have a vast array of vendors there with tons of memorabilia, tons of nostalgic comics, as well as the latest ones.
Plus the artists. There will be
Yes.
experienced comic book artists there that will either be selling prints of their work or taking commissions. So if you are interested in having your very own version of Iron Man, you pay them and they'll send it to you. Or if they finish it at the show, you can take it right there. I've done that before, and it's pretty cool to get
I love it.
your own thing that you paid for of this character that you like. Like I said, there are a lot of celebrities there this year, though.
Name like top five, or just like five that you're interested in.
How about some groupings? How about
Yeah,
that?
okay. Let's hear that.
They have a small Nightmare on Elm Street, like the original Nightmare on Elm Street grouping. So they have a couple of the actresses plus Freddie himself, Robert England. That's pretty cool.
Oof.
They have
Yeah.
a small but vital reunion for Back to the Future with not only Doc Brown and the principal, but Marty frickin' McFly himself. Michael J. Fox will be there.
Come on.
They have a couple of actors from The Office, Creed and Oscar. And then they also have, and this is extra fun. They've the next two are probably my favorites of the groupings. Will be the Star Trek Strange New Worlds with Anson Mount and Rebecca Romaine. And then finally, the one that they locked up pretty early was Napoleon Dynamite.
That's so fun.
With Napoleon Dynamite and Pedro. They will be there.
That's amazing.
That is pretty cool. And then just singly, because I'm a Star Wars fan, they have the girl who played little Princess Leia in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, Vivian Lyra Blair.
Oh, that's so cute. I love that. So lots of
Yes.
variety there. I mean, you don't
Yes.
have to be just into sci-fi. You don't have to be just into comics. You don't have to be just into Marvel. There's loads of stuff
I
going
mean,
on.
Back to the Future is some people in, Gen X's favorite movie,
Very true. Yeah. They just have a Broadway show that just came out not that long ago. So yeah, it is absolutely getting a resurgence of love.
In the literature section, they have invited a guy named Jim Butcher, who is pretty famous for having made a series called The Dresden Files, which they made a TV show about back like 10 years ago. So that's a pretty big name in the literature circle. They also have an author named Martha Wells, who has a huge list of books that she's written, including for Star Wars, but she made one that has a title that is just undeniably awesome called The Murderbot Diaries.
Murderbot. I love it.
Murderbot. It's a large collection of authors that they have to talk. If you are interested in learning about writing, either as a passion or as a possible side hustle, there are people that will be putting on talks and workshops even throughout the convention that are just suited just for that interest. So even if you don't give a hoot about Marty McFly, but you want to know from writers that have been through the ringer before and have gotten published one way or the other, there are 20 or 25 of them here talking about just that.
I think it sounds like a great show with a ton of variety, lots of things to see and do. I really recommend the show. We've been going for how many years now? Would you say like 10?
Yeah, at least. I mean,
At
think
least.
think about when we took the kids and
Oh,
they
they were
were
so small.
and they were
Yeah.
tiny, and now
Boy, it might be 15 years, you guys. So we have been going for a lot of years. If you guys have any questions or comments, we highly recommend you ask. We have, like we said, tons of years of experience. We're also local to Houston. So if you have any questions about like places to stay, places to eat, things to do maybe after the con, maybe you're going to stay another day, maybe you're looking for some nightlife stuff, shoot us an email over at Pod Clubhouse or come on over on Twitter or Facebook. We're also on all of those different social media platforms. So come check us out and listen to some of our podcasts, and please ask any questions you have about cons. We would love to tell you.
and after we go, we will have another podcast wrapping up what we thought of the show and what we saw and did.
Can't wait to talk to you then. This is Caroline.
And this is Paul. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast if you enjoyed this discussion. Sample any of our other TV show related podcasts. We have one running now for Beacon 23. We just finished Shogun. We have more coming. Look out for The Boys and Snowpiercer very soon.
We also have Decorating the Set with Beth Kushnick, where you get to learn all the behind the scenes about the industry and things going on, especially right now, the state of the industry. There's so much conversation.
She is having some important discussions with other working professionals in the entertainment industry, talking about what is happening right now that isn't being said in other places. So it's some exclusive content.
It's very important. And it's so important to understand like the larger, what is going on in entertainment and pop culture in general. And it's so fun to get to take that information here from our podcast and then watch shows and be like, oh my gosh, I can see how this is actually affecting this. It's amazing. Even as a host, I enjoy listening to the stories and then seeing how it plays out on screen.
Well, thanks for talking with me today, Caroline.
No problem. I can't wait until we have our post-con coverage. I know we're going to have lots of stories to tell. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you for listening. This has been an original Pod Clubhouse production. Pod Clubhouse is a podcast network dedicated to encouraging collaboration among podcasters and friends to bring a fresh voice and diverse perspective on a wide array of content. Please visit and leave a comment for us at podclubhouse.com. Rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast feeds on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us at Pod Clubhouse. Our DMs are always open, and we'd love to hear from you.